Hello friends, welcome back. In this video, we will discuss one more critical reasoning exercise that is useful for you in cracking your VRC section of CAT and the verbal ability sections of other management entrance examinations. So many people may have the doubt why I'm focusing too much on critical reasoning rather than going for reading comprehension and for other kind of questions like para jumbles, para summaries, etc. So the basic reason or the fundamental reason is that critical reasoning is the building block of all reading comprehension questions. So here you will be able to develop your reading skills, the comprehension skills, as well as practice your logical skills. So once you develop all these three skills together, then cracking the reading comprehension passages or the para jumble, para summary or sentence completion question will not be a problem for you. So that is why for the sake of developing the required skills for all the verbal ability section questions, it is always advantageous to focus on the critical reasoning questions. That will improve your comprehension skills. It will also improve your logical skills. So that is why we are focusing on critical reasoning questions more. Once you develop the skills, then we can move on to the passages as well as the para jumble, para summary questions. So the explanations, the need for explanations will be less in such a scenario. That is why we are focusing on the critical listening aspect initially, right? So we'll go to the questions one by one. So I'll give you some time to read the question and attempt on your own, then we will discuss. So first, read the passage and the question. So what is the passage saying? It is saying that as per the experts on traffic safety, there is a new set of seat belts, or so not seat belts. There is a new set of airbags that which are created, which is an innovation. So as per these airbags, if they are installed in cars, it will reduce the fatalities. What is fatalities? Fatalities means deaths. So number of deaths in a traffic accident can be reduced by 30% if the newly designed airbags are installed in cars. So the Ministry of Surface Transport is now planning to make it mandatory for all cars that are produced after 2030 to have this new set of airbags. So this is the passage. So in simple terms, a new set of airbags is there. It is found to reduce the number of deaths in a traffic accident by 30%, and the ministry is now thinking of making it mandatory for all cars produced after 2030. So now your question is, which of the true following if to represent the strongest challenge to the ministry's proposal? So a challenge means something that is going to be a problem in implementing the proposal is a challenge. So what are the of these options? You have to find the option that is the strongest challenge or the most important problem in implementing the proposal by the ministry. So once you understand that, your answer may be easily obtained, or it may when you understand the question clearly, you will be able to drive away most of the confusions and ambiguities that you will have if you do not understand the question properly. So option A, airbags of the new design are more given to being inadvertently triggered. What is the meaning? These airbags are more prone to getting triggered accidentally. So where the airbags are supposed to open only in the case of an accident or a head-on collision, but in some cases, even when there is no accident or head-on collision, these airbags are deployed. So when that happens, it is going to result in an accident and then result in certain deaths. That is, fatal traffic accidents can be result in such case of accidental deployment of airbags. So this is definitely a problem. So this could be your answer. Keep it in your mind. Option B, the automobile manufacturers will be required to upgrade their technology to produce these airbags according to very strict specifications. So this is a newly designed airbag. So the specifications are very strict. So the existing technology will not help the automobile manufacturers to produce these airbags. So they have to upgrade the technology. Upgrading technology means cost. So this is again going to be a problem. So a likely answer, option C. After installing the new airbags in new cars, automobile manufacturers will experience an increase in sales. So it means that the sales will increase. So this is an advantage. So automobile manufacturers, if this becomes mandatory, they are going to have a Increase in sale means it is an advantage. We are asked to find a problem, so this can be eliminated. Option D, the proposed airbag installation program will adversely affect the resale of cars manufactured prior to 2030. So when you have cars which have advanced safety features versus the cars which have not so advanced safety features, probably the customers will be going for cars with enhanced safety features. So there will not be too many takers for the cars which are manufactured before 2030, in which these kind of airbags are not there. This also could be a problem. So this is a challenge. So this is a probable answer. Option E, as production costs increase, profits made of many domestic automobile dealers show a market decrease. So because of the increase in the production cost as a result of this directive. Why? Because the obviously they have to upgrade their technology, or they have to put in or bring in new airbags, and then they have to install these airbags. So cost will increase. So when the cost increases, the manufacturers may have a reduced profit. So that also is a problem. So we are able to eliminate only option C. All others are likely answers. In such cases, or in such case, what you have to do, you have to go back to the question and then read the question very clearly. The strongest challenge to the ministry's proposal. What could be a strongest challenge? What is the objective? What is proposal? Proposal is a plan of action. So what can be the strongest objection to any plan of action? The strongest objection, or the most effective objection, or the most effective weakness to any plan of action will be that weakness which will make the ultimate objective inaccessible. So what you have to think about that proposal, what is the ultimate objective of that proposal? So when you read the question, you can say that the ultimate objective of the proposal is to save lives. So the Ministry of Surface Transport is not bothered about the cost that is going to be borne by the automobile manufacturers. They are not bothered about the resale value. They are not bothered about the whether the automobile manufacturers have to bring in technologies. These are all definitely challenges, but the objective of the proposal is to save lives. So any option or anything that will defeat this objective, that is definitely going to be a challenge. So out of this, which is going to be the uh, option which defeats the objective of the proposal? The objective of the proposal is to save lives. So option A says that in case of accidental deployment of these airbags, it will result in fatal traffic accidents. The objective of the proposal is to reduce the fatalities in the traffic accidents and thus save lives. So whereas when you are implementing the proposal, it instead of preventing the fatalities, it is going to increase the fatalities, then that means it is definitely a very big challenge or a very big problem with regard to the proposal. So out of these A, B, D and D, this is the strongest of challenge to the proposal. All others are challenges. These are all operational challenges. Ministry is not interested in these kind of issues. Ministry's only objective is to save lives, whereas option A is going to make that objective doubtful if the airbags are prone to getting accidentally deployed. Then that means there will be more fatalities rather than less number of fatalities. So that is why this would be your answer. So you can always go for A as the strongest challenge, not B, D or E. So I hope it is clear. So this is the method you have to follow. When you have multiple answers, you have to read the question properly, then understand it very clearly, thoroughly, then go to the answer. So I hope you have understood the technique. This question you need not remember. You only have to remember the technique that is used in these kind of scenarios. So I hope that is clear. Now go to the second one. So the passage is talking about the plan by a private bus company. What they did, they increased their income by concentrating on a particular area where they are operating, and then they started running more buses in the area, and the fares also were reduced, as a result of which what happened, more and more people started using the buses. Greater ridership means more and more people started riding the buses. You are using the buses, as a result of which their revenue increased. So their profits also increased by focusing on a particular area, then increasing the number of buses, decreasing the fares. So it stimulated greater ridership, so they garnered greater profits. So now with that result in hand, what they did, they wanted to further increase the profit by increasing the efficiency further. What they did, what they are planning to do, they are planning to replace all the older buses with the new larger buses, including double decker buses. So they are now continuing this trend, or they know that when you provide good service, definitely you are going to get good patronage. So they are going to increase the efficiency by introducing new buses, larger buses, and some double decker buses also. So this is the plan, that is proposed plan of the bus company. So now the question is, the plan of the bus company assumes all the following, except. What is an assumption? Assumption is something that supports a conclusion, or something that is essential for a conclusion. So any assumption should be essential for a conclusion. Conclusion means a decision. So what is the conclusion that is inherent in the company's decision? The company is planning to replace older buses with new ones and introducing double decker buses. What is the conclusion? The conclusion is that if you introduce new buses, larger buses and double decker buses, the patronage will increase, or the more and more people will start riding the buses, and they will get more revenue and they will get more profits. This is the conclusion. No, you have to find an assumption that is essential for the conclusion. So, and you that is not your answer, it is an exception question. So any statement that is not essential for the conclusion will be your answer. All right. Option A, the demand for buses service in the company's area of service will increase in future. So yeah, definitely this is a very good assumption, because it is on the basis of this assumption that the company has decided to introduce new larger buses and double decker buses, because they think that with the when they introduce new larger buses, already they have increased ridership, that will again increase further, as a result of which they will get more profits. So this is definitely an assumption that the company is thinking about when they are making the decision. So this is not your answer, and this is essential, because if the demand is not going to increase, what will happen? The company's plans will fail. So this is why this assumption is essential for the success of the company's plan. So this is not your answer. Option B, increased efficiency and revenues will compensate for any new expenses. Again, when they introduce new buses and double decker buses, they are going to incur new expenses, but the efficiency and the revenue means more. When you introduce larger buses, there will be more efficient and there will be more revenue. So this revenue will offset the expenditure that is incurred for the purchase of new buses. When you purchase new buses, there will be a lot of expenditure, but increased revenue and efficiency will definitely offset that expenditure. So this is again an essential assumption. This is essential for the success of the company's plan. So this is an assumption that the company is doing, but since it is essential, it is not our answer. Option C, the new buses will be sufficiently reliable to ensure the company a net financial gain once they are in place. So again, when they introduce new buses, the company is assuming that these buses will be reliable. They will not be having too much maintenance issues, or they will not be breaking down in between. They will be reliable. They can be put in service for a long time without any maintenance, or without any wear and tear issues, or without any other additional cost. So that is called reliability. So when such buses can be operated for a long period of time without any additional cost, that will again result in financial gain for the company. So this is definitely what the company is assuming. So this is essential. The buses have to be reliable. They have to run for greater durations of time without any maintenance problem. Only then the company can have a financial gain. So this is something essential for the success of the company's plan. Something that is essential is not bad assumption. It is definitely a good assumption. So we need since our question is an exception question, this is not our answer. Option D, driving the new buses will be no more difficult than driving the buses they are to replace. So here what it means? It means that the buses are easier or equally easy to drive than the old buses. So is this essential? This is required. Yes, the buses need to be easily or the buses should not be too complex for driving than the existing buses. If the buses are too complex for driving, what will happen? Will it be affecting the company's plan? No, the company's plan may not be affected, or the success may not be affected. The success may be delayed, maybe you can say, because when the buses are slightly difficult to drive than the earlier buses, what the company will have to do, they have to train the drivers, the some kind of one-time expenses they have to incur for training the drivers on the new buses. But will it completely negate the likely success of the company? No, it may sometimes delay the success, but it is not going to uh, deny the success to the company. It will definitely have a potential of delaying the success, but not denying. So is this essential for the success of the company's plan? Not really essential, because even if the buses are difficult to drive, the company would still be succeeding in the plan, maybe a little bit later, because they have to spend some time on training the drivers on driving the new buses. So this could be your probable answer. Keep it in your mind. Option is the larger double-decker buses will not face obstacles such as height and weight restrictions in the company's area of service. So what about this? Let's say there are many places in that particular area where there are some overhead beams or something like that, where the double-decker buses are not able to ply, or the sometimes in some areas where the larger buses, the roads are too narrow, the larger buses cannot go. So in such cases, what will happen? If the company has purchased the new buses, already spent a lot of money on purchasing new buses, and the buses cannot be put into operation, what will happen? The company's plan will definitely fail. So this is definitely essential for the company's success. They should not face any obstacles on height and weight, etc., so that the double decker buses or the larger buses will have problems in operating. So any problems in the operation of the larger double decker buses, permanent problems. See here, in the case of option D, it is only a temporary problem, whereas on option E, it is a permanent problem. So when it becomes a permanent problem, it is definitely going to be a problem. But so this is an essential thing, that they should not face any obstacles. So when there are no obstacles, it is essential that the company's plan will succeed. So this is also something that is essential for the success of the company. Since it is essential, the company, this is a good assumption. So what is not a good assumption is option D, because this is not essential. Even if the buses are difficult to drive than the old buses, the company may overcome that by training the drivers. So this is not going to incur a huge cost or an ongoing cost for the company. It may be they will have a one-time cost. It will not be a huge ongoing cost. So the once that drivers become adept or skillful in driving the new buses, then the company will have no problems in running the buses. So this is not an essential thing for the company's plan to succeed. So something that is not a good assumption. So this is your answer. Third question. Bacterium is the singular of bacteria. Bacteria is a collection of bacterium is a bacteria. So bacteria is what we commonly refer. So when you talk about a single species of bacteria, it is called a bacterium. So here, a newly discovered disease is thought to be caused by a certain bacterium. So people generally think that this disease is caused by a particular bacterium, but recent data. So some studies were conducted, and these studies revealed certain data, and as per the data, the bacterium thrives in the presence of a certain virus. Thrives means it is able to survive in a very conducive or a favorable environment. That is called thriving. So the bacterium is able to multiply, survive and multiply very fast in the presence of a certain virus. And as per with the help of this data, this implied that it is actually the virus that is causing the new disease. So what is the implication? What is implication? Anything that can be deduced. So the data is saying that bacterium is thriving in the presence of a certain virus, and we already think that the bacterium is causing the disease. So from these two things, it implied that it is actually the virus that is causing the new disease, though. So the implication is that virus is causing the new disease. Now, which of the following pieces of evidence would most support the data's implication? So, implication of the data. What is implication of the data? Implication of the data is that virus is causing the new disease, not the bacterium. Now, which statement will support this particular implication? That is what you have to find out. Option A, in the absence of the virus, the disease has been observed to follow infection by the bacterium. Is this correct, or will it support the implication? The implication says that it is a virus that is causing the disease, whereas this option says that even if virus is not there, the disease is caused by the bacterium. So this is not supporting the implication, because the implication says that it is the virus that is causing the disease. Option A is talking a contrary thing. So this is something that is not supporting the data's implication. Option B, the virus has been shown to aid the growth of bacteria, process which often leads to the onset of the disease. So here it says that virus is able supporting, or it is fostering the growth of bacterium, and because of this growth of bacterium, it is leading to the onset of the disease. So yes, because it also is in a way supporting the implications. The implications is that virus is the ultimate reason for the disease. So here option B says that virus is showing the aiding the supporting the growth of bacterium, and when it supports the growth of bacterium, the disease is formed. So probable answer option C, the virus alone has been observed in many cases of the disease. So the implication is that virus is the cause of the new disease. So option C says that virus alone, even without the help of the bacterium, virus is causing the disease. So this also is a good statement that supports the implication, because the implication says that virus is causing the disease. So even without the help of bacterium, virus is causing the disease. So this is also a good answer. Keep it in your mind. Option D, in cases where the disease does not develop, infection by the bacterium is usually preceded by the infection of the virus. If preceded means it happens first. So if virus is infecting a body first, then it should develop the disease. Whereas in this case, it says that when the disease is not developing, and it is first virus is infecting the body, but the disease is not developing. For this is not supporting the theory or the implication, because the theory or the implication is that virus is causing the disease. So if virus is infecting a body and the disease is not developing, means it is against the implication of the data. Option E, the onset of the disease usually follows infection by both the virus and the bacteria. So it says that the body has to be infected by both the virus and the bacteria. This again is not supporting the data, because as per the data, virus is the cause of the disease. So it is not necessary that bacteria should be there. Virus is the cause of the disease. So this is why this also is wrong. No. Now out of B and C, which is the best answer that supports the implication? Option B saying that virus is aiding the growth of bacterium. This is true as per the data. The data says that virus is aiding the growth of the bacterium. The second part says that because of this process, the disease is formed. So while making this part, what we are doing, we are actually taking the help of the first statement, which is a belief before the publication of the data. So this first statement was a belief, and it is thought to be caused by the bacterium. So before the data was published, we had a belief that the bacteria is causing the disease. As per the data, the virus is helping the growth of the bacteria, and then we combined the earlier belief, and then we implied that virus is helping the growth of the bacteria, and then the bacteria is causing the disease. So virus is indirectly the reason for the disease, but it need not be true. That because we do not know whether the process of the aiding the growth of the bacterium is the reason for the onset of the disease. This is not given in the data. The second part is not given in the data. As per the data, we know that virus is doing two things. It is causing the growth of the bacterium, it is causing the disease. So this may be two different functions that the virus is doing. So it is not necessary that the virus is causing the growth of the bacteria and bacteria is causing the disease. This need not be true. So that this may be two independent actions of the virus. One is virus is the causing the growth of the bacterium. The bacterium thrives in the presence of a virus. Virus is also causing the disease. This the data from the data we implied that the virus is causing the disease by combining the thought here. So with the thought is not a part of the data. So our question is to find something that supports the implication. So the implication is only that the virus is causing the disease. It does not say that the virus is virus because it helps the growth of the bacteria, the disease is formed. That is a wrong a wrong assumption that is not stated in the data. So as per the data, we know that the virus is aiding the growth of bacterium, virus is causing the disease. So anything that says that virus is causing the disease will be supporting this particular implication. So virus alone has been observed in many cases of the disease. This is the correct statement that supports the implication. See, this implication is very, very important. Implication is given only in the last part of the passage, implying that actually the virus is causing the disease. So anything that supports that part is our answer. So virus alone has been observed in many cases. Even without the help of the bacteria, virus alone is causing the disease is the statement that supports the implication. As per the data, we know that virus is aiding the growth of bacterium and virus is also causing the disease. These may be two independent actions of the virus. It need not be connected. So that is why C will be your answer, neither B nor any other option. So C should be your answer. You may be tempted to go for B, but B is wrong because of the second part, which is not stated in the data, right? I hope this is clear. So go to the next one. Okay, so the passage again is talking about a research done by a sociologist. So he studied two sets of teenagers. One set was watching violent TV programs for more than 10 hours every week. Another set of teenagers were watching less than 2 hours of violent TV programs in a week. So, and the group which was watching more hours of violent TV programs, they showed aggressive behavior than the group which was watching less hours of violent TV programs. So that is the conclusion. The conclusion is that prolonged exposure to television violence causes aggressive behavior. So when you watch more TV programs with violence, then you are prone to aggressive behavior in your personality. When you watch less violent TV programs, you are not prone to violent or aggressive behavior. This is the conclusion by the sociologist. Now your question is to find a statement that challenges the sociologist's conclusion, or any statement that weakens the conclusion of the sociologist will be your answer. So we have to think about the conclusion or the result of the study made by the sociologist is that any person or any teenager who watches more hours of violent TV programs will definitely be aggressive than a teenager who watches less hours of violent TV programs. Now you have to find a statement that can weaken this conclusion. Option A, some teenagers who watched more than 10 hours of violent TV program per week behaved less aggressively than others in the same group. Means even in the first group where where people had watched more hours of violent program, some people were not as violent as the other members. That is the meaning. So maybe true, but will it reduce the significance of the conclusion? No. Some members were less violent, but on the whole this group was more violent than the other group. That is what the passage says. Significantly greater portion of the teenagers in this former group exhibited aggressive behavior. So significantly greater portion means, let us say there are 10 people in each group, and out of which in the first group 8 people showed violent behavior, 3 people showed in the second group showed violent behavior. Means more number of people in the first group, and out of these 8 people who showed violent behavior, some may be less violent than the others. That is what this passage is saying. That may be true, but still it does not take or reduce the gravity of the fact, or it does not dilute the fact that more people in the first group were violent. So this is not going to weaken the conclusion by the sociologist, because the sociologist is saying the conclusion is based on the more number of teenagers in the first group being more violent than the teenagers in the second group. Among the first group, some may be less violent than the others, but that does not mean that they are less violent than the second group. Only when you say that a lot of people in the first group are less violent than the second group, the conclusion is weakened. But here only some teenagers in the first group are less violent than the others in the same group. Means it is not going to be a significant problem. So this is not your answer. Option B, some teenagers who watch 2 hours of violent television program per week did not behave aggressively. True, this is what the passage also saying. The second group, some teenagers 2 hours of violent program means they are belonging to the second group. So such people showed less aggressively. This is actually supporting what the sociologist is saying. So this is not your answer. Option C, some teenagers voluntarily stopped watching violent TV programs after being victims of violence. So the passage is discussing about the person who is inflicting the violence. Victim means who is the at the receiving end of the violence. We are not discussing about the people who are at the receiving end of the violence and what is the impact of, or what is the psychological impact on such people. This is not discussed in the passage. Anything that is out of the scope of the discussion in the passage, when it is given as an option, you can straight away ignore it. So since the victims of the violence is not a part of our discussion, you can ignore this option. Option D, some teenagers watched violent TV programs alone while others did so in groups. Again, this is not part of our discussion whether the teenagers in the first or the second group were watching programs alone or in groups, or what is the difference if they watching programs alone, what is the difference if they watch programs in groups. This is not discussed in the passage. So this option cannot be validated, or this option cannot be judged for its truth or falsity, because this is not discussed in our passage. So we can ignore this because it is out of the scope of our discussion. Option E, many of the teenagers in the first group exhibited aggressive behavior before the study began. So what is the meaning here? It means that even before the study started, these people in the first group were already very aggressive. So from that, what you can see, if this is true, what will happen? We can conclude that the violent behavior after watching the TV programs may not be the result of the impact of TV programs. It may be already because they were already very violent. These teenagers in the first group were already showing aggressive behavior. So it is not because of the impact of the TV programs that they became violent afterwards. It may be because they are already violent. So this will definitely weaken the sociologist's conclusion, because the sociologist is concluding that it is because of the impact of the TV programs that they are getting more aggressive. So that is why option E is the best answer that will weaken the conclusion made by the sociologist. So it is your answer. I hope the questions discussed and the techniques we use have been helpful to you. Always think about the technique and always look at the nuances of the process, how we have arrived at the answers, how we have carefully eliminated the options through analysis and logical reasoning. So hope this is useful to you. If you have liked the content, please like, share, and subscribe, and that will help me to get more reach, so that when I get more reach, I'll be bring motivated to come out with further useful videos like this. Thank you. Bye bye.